This is the second part of the interview with 3 cheat developers. If you haven't saw the first part, you can go check it out here. I want to put a focus on the building and kinda the shipping aspect when you work on one of those projects, to try to understand basically like the work of a developer at each level. So could you explain to me, like, when you pitch a feature, what type of problem can you bump into? Or like, do you have some ideas you want to go for and then you just cut it because you think it will not work? Can all of you like explain to me a bit about that?
So essentially problems that come into the development process, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, first off, you need to determine whether a feature that you're gonna add is actually useful or not. Unless you're the developer and you just want to add it for yourself, that's it. But other problems for real important features would be really just, I mean, from my opinion, dependent on your experience, because you might just not be able to solve a problem, or at least not be able to solve it in a proper manner. Because there's always a correct and a wrong answer for something. Just because you don't know what the correct answer is doesn't mean the answer you have right now is correct. It means you're wrong and you just don't know why. And I mean, that's why like developing a cheat with someone is always a better thing, because even though perspectives might clash, they also might complement each other. Because every person is different and thinks in a different manner. Someone might be stuck on a problem for some time, and someone else might solve it immediately and backwards. You know, it really depends.
I definitely agree on that. I fully understand that vision. We have the same on project management.
Typically, in like the first 5 minutes, I'll like immediately ditch the feature if I think it's a crapper or whatever. It's kind of what was that feature I did? I think it was some of them were fun to make. I think one of them was projectile trajectory camera. I was brainstorming because, you know, trying to make more people buy the cheat, make more money with Rigid, and I remembered that was one thing I wanted to do. The source engine actually made it very easy to make different views. I think that was one of their selling points in their tech demo. It's easy to do that when you have the source code, but problem is no one's ever done that in TF2. Like, no other cheat has done that. So that was kind of like, you had to fresh reverse that, because, you know, don't get me wrong, opening up IDA to find something, that's good and all, but like, if someone already has done the work on unknown cheats, like in finding the functions you need, the offsets, don't waste your time. There's no shame in it. What you should do, it's just me, I mean everyone should do it, is make sure you know how to get the offsets when the game breaks them, because that's the cringe part. People just paste it and then they fucking, or I should have said that, and they wonder how to find them again after the game updates, and that's cringe, because that's you waste a lot of time trying to figure out where it's at. Luckily, the source code is public, but imagine if it wasn't. Good luck. That feature had a bunch of issues, because in terms of like, maybe when it comes to like Mad or Cleric, they don't really have to worry too much about like the front end experience. When I got it working, it worked, but it was confusing to like some of the staging members we had. Like, where is it gonna land? So my solution to that was to draw a box, a 3D rotating box, to add depth to the camera. Found that kind of a very over-engineered step to get that working, because it was kind of a bit of a pain. But when it ended up working, it changed the whole of TF2 HVH, because now you could guide a sticky like across the map perfectly. You found points with the needle gun for the medic where you can like artillery strike sentries across the map. It opened a whole new door, and then that evolved into arc prediction, as people call it, where you got people basically, I'm sure you've seen it, and like you've watched probably some cheating videos before. Did people go demo man and their stickies just like fly perfectly to people across the map or on cover?
Yeah. So it's a line who predicted basically.
Yeah, that's a lot of math. You know, the math is not in the prediction itself; it's in the data, the input sanitization, which is it's hard to explain in a plain language. Like, you can have the best prediction in the world, but if you feed it bad data, it's gonna suck. Basically, if that makes some sense.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what else to add to that because I'm kind of running out of examples. I'm not sure if anyone else here has one, but
well, I specifically remember making a charge bot that automatically just like faces the target player and avoids walls and stuff, so you don't bump into them. And the biggest problem with that was actually finding the walls and stuff and figuring out an algorithm that would avoid them with basically your mouse, quote unquote. It's different in the source, of course, but that was probably the biggest problem I had when making it. Like, everything else was pretty simple to do, but it took me the longest to actually figure out the pathing algorithm. And one feature I cut and I plan to revisit is the crit effect on your view model when you're crit boosted, for example. Basically, my idea was to make it appear when you hold your crit hack key, so you can like have a cool little visualization of it. And I think that's it.
For the people who don't know what a crit boost is, can you explain it?
Basically, when you capture intelligence, for example on Twofer, you get a crit boost effect, and your hands and weapon is glowing with the color, you know? So I basically wanted to replicate that, but only when you hold your crit hack key. So when you can force a crit shot, it would light up nicely, just like you had gotten the intelligence capture.
Well, I think you already explained to me quite a lot about like the process of kind of creating and like kind of the struggle you can have while developing a cheat. I still like kind of have two more questions like on that thematic. The first one is like when you have to take a decision. So you told me you basically you work at 2 or 3 people. Do you all take the decisions at 2 or 3 people, or like is there some decisions you take alone for the development?
When I usually look at the perspective from other people, I mainly prioritize myself. So, for example, if the feature is not gonna be good for me, then I don't want others to use it or like have it. So I basically just perfect it, you know, instead of giving out it to the quote-unquote masses. Since it's not really finished, and I don't feel like comfortable with other people using something that is not finished. So I basically mostly look for like if I'm happy with it, then yeah, I'm gonna give it to others, you know.
I mean, yeah, that it happens a lot because, I mean, we all use the cheats, so essentially if there's a problem with something a feature that someone wrote, it's always going to be brought to light. So there isn't, I guess you could say that, yeah, there's always going to be a reviewer with that, but well, yeah, that's about it.
I mean, yeah, we have beta members, you know, that get the features before, but like, if I don't like it because it's like broken or doesn't work correctly, I'm not gonna like push it to the beta users because I don't feel nice using it.
Yeah, I get it.
typically, if you push something that's buggy and you get rid of it, people get more angry. So you got to kind of test it yourself then typically goes to staging or beta members who hopefully find something you missed, and then it gets pushed to the main branch, pretty much. It's kind of the process that was there. Then sometimes of things getting through, but other than that.
Now I would kind of like to go on the ethical aspect. I was wondering if, as of today, there is something you will not build or publish. What will it be, basically? And the reason for that?
Let's say the game allows you to have like audio hacks and put images on people's PC, like in the game. I wouldn't do that because obviously if I added that and then everyone was able to use it, let's be honest, like what do you think people are gonna put on the images and the audio? A bunch of not safe for work stuff, especially if the game is for catered around kids. Not a good idea. Exploits involving denial of service, for starters, that's illegal. You know, you're lagging servers or crashing them. That is a form of denial of service. You can't do that. One of the things that I never did in Rigid is unlockers for paid content. You are essentially the equivalently pirating paid content, which is illegal as well from a POV and like legal, because like you're getting something that's supposed to be paid for free. That's not, that's not right.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, using any exploits that can like brick computers or servers or anything that's otherwise illegal. That's something we probably all agree with here.
Yeah, definitely. Also, if Cleric or Mad, you want to add something about it?
We basically agree with everything that Rud just said, and also just wanted to add also, for example, like bots as well. We don't really want to add solutions that enable that kind of use of our software, of our programs, basically. Even though I don't know if it will be public, but either way, we would not do that. And essentially, yeah, our software for game or cheats for game should stay contained to that game. I mean, I can also bring up an example, like when there was an exploit, I think. Actually,
you mean the sign crasher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That was funny.
Yeah.
So what?
It was an exploit with the objector signs, like decals. You could like, since it converts an image into like raw RGB data, you could like crash people's games by just pulling out a sign.
Because the way TF2 stores stuff like sprays and decals is through a bitmap. It's just data of like color values. This color is RGBA. It's 255, a byte for every color value. So 4 bytes for one color. And the way images work, something like a PNG or a JPEG, they have compression algorithms, right? But it's not compatible with TF2's way. It needs a bitmap, so it converts that PNG into a bitmap. I think Shounik made a video on it and explained it in more detail, but essentially, in a short way, it just decompresses a PNG. A massive PNG can be made to bypass Steam's size limits, and when it gets loaded into TF2, it gets decompressed like 2 or 4 gigabytes or something. And it before, when there weren't render limits, people could just download the image based from the objector, and it would just crash the game because it allocated all that memory into RAM. It failed. Also because TF2 was 32-bit at the time, but that's another thing.
Yeah, I think I remember it now. I kind of saw it a bit.
I still have screenshots of servers being empty if you want.
And Cheats actually managed to solve that before Valve actually pushed an update that fixed it. So if you wanted to play the game and didn't want to get crashed, you kind of had to cheat during that time because Valve just didn't push a fix for that, in a way, if you understand what I mean.
There was one way you could fix it by blocking Steam images and host files.
Oh yeah, as well.
Yeah, but that took a lot more effort than just injecting a cheat.
True.
Okay, so I would be curious to like go on like the risk, like I asked you like what you would not do basically, and I would be curious to like now question the risk aspect who can be linked to cheating. Basically, what is like the biggest risk or like real world risk that you would like people to be warned about. Like for example, I think about malwares, data theft, dogs, some possible scams, because let's be real, like the cheat community is not necessarily the nicest, or the kindest at least.
Well, this could be the case for other games where cheating isn't as easy as in TF2, because, like, for example, in TF2, it's a lot easier to make a hack than for example, the like Call of Duty, Black Ops, I don't know, Rust, Overwatch, anything else. I guess scams are more prevalent in those cases because it would be harder to find a good, reliable, like for example, like a cheat provider is just a service. It's a service for a user, essentially. And about, for example, like scams or theft, and you could just be, someone could be looking for a provider that actually didn't have a good reputation, or just sold their data, or just scammed them completely, like an exit scam. I don't know about malware because it kind of falls in the same area as that. Trusted cheat providers wouldn't do that. Like for example, we don't see, there isn't a point in trying to push that kind of stuff to a user base, because it's better to build your reputation and the reputation of your product instead of just always citing new customers. You scam them, okay, new customers. Like, not only is that ethically bad, that's also bad for business as well. So I don't know what else I can add to this.
If you called the Mailbox dev Tom, which everyone knows him by that anyways, sometimes he would DM your full name from your invoice when you bought La Mailbox from PayPal sometimes. So I guess he didn't publicly disclose it, but obviously he did that because he got mad for some reason. Don't know why. He's a bit paranoid. Maybe like one case of that. Otherwise, some cheats, they collect Discord tokens and browser session cookies and a lot of cheats commonly take screenshots of your desktop, all these Steam accounts you logged into, the Steam ID, not any sensitive data, hardware information. I'm not too sure else they can take. I haven't brainstormed that far, but you know, if you open the cheat loader, say a lot of CS:GO cheats did this, it's a screenshotting desktop. You open that loader up and log in, and you had anything sensitive open on your desktop, it would be on their server, like the screenshot of it. It's a big privacy concern as well, because what if you're, on your bank or viewing sensitive documents, or
watching
in some cases viewing pornography, which yes, that people do that for some reason before they cheat. Origin had it in V1, and then people would have very bad OPSEC.
Okay.
Personally, you got to be careful with that stuff, because screenshotting itself is like, the reasons why cheats do it is for catching people debugging the cheat, because you can detect screenshotting, but if you prevent it, you can get banned. Malware, no one really risks that. It's mostly people taking data that's kind of out of scope for security purposes. Doxing is like really common because people conveniently who cheat in games also are supposedly or allegedly involved in illegal things as well, using database breach websites to look up info on people, and probably either using those websites or they just happen to know the person in question. Scams are very unlikely. Like, you have to be like one of those people who see TF2 mod menu 2024 on YouTube and just like click the download button and run it on your PC. Like, anything on YouTube is a scam if it's like free or whatever. 99% of the time.
Exactly, yeah, that's what it is. It's like the people should just make their own research. That's the most important part. Not to jump immediately at the first shiny thing that pops up on their YouTube feed. Just study the market and what products are available, then make their decision based on that.
You got a site called, that's where you can find cheats that have no front-end website. They're like just individuals who want to sell their cheat. You can get something good, you can get something totally terrible, and you take the risk. A lot of cases, they don't care about knowing who you are, they just want money. So there's that. I think if you're worried about privacy and data theft, it's going to be from the cheat vendors, because a lot of them do not have good security practices. So if they get hacked, your data is now in a data well on a database breach website people can pay for. Because that's what happened with Aimware. They got hacked because for some reason someone found a PHP script. Instead of it being ran as PHP, it was ran as a text document. So it just leaked the whole SQL password and login stuff. So yeah, stuff like that. They have half measures that some of these cheat companies do can be a big problem as well. Because it's a big cheat company. There's a lot of value hacking them.
Yeah, the biggest risks are probably data leaks from major cheat providers, like Aimware, for example. I have experience firsthand. And the other thing is obviously malware that you find on some very obscure websites or even YouTube, like Rud said. Doxes usually come up as a part of the data leaks anyways. So that's not really a thing to worry about if you're not stupid.